It's here. The long-anticipated PMDG Boeing 737-700 that you've all been waiting for since the sim came out. Now, I'm not a 737 pilot, so I'll have to review this, say, as a mid-level simmer, and indeed for the newbies who are about to join this fantastic hobby. So I've decided to sandwich the bad elements. There are some bad elements, but I think they're going to be temporary. I'm pretty sure they'll have to be temporary in the middle. Okay, so I'll sandwich the bad in the middle. With regards to, actually this highly detailed simulation of the 737. After some research, I've discovered that the logical elements, the systems with regards to this aircraft, far exceeds what I thought it would be. This is a fully customized system simulation for all major and minor components of the 737-700. It's sophisticated because all the onboard systems with regards to, say, the hydraulics, the electrics, the pneumatics, the flight management computer, and so on, work as if you're actually sat in the real 737-700. There's also interchangeable equipment options for the cockpit instrumentation, for example, the hood. There is a drivable pushback tug. I haven't tried that yet though. Also a custom PMDG stairs and a ground power unit, among others, if you choose to use them. There's also a plethora of liveries to choose from. Also included is, as you'd expect, the passenger configuration with both blended winglets and split winglet configurations, as well as the business jet and a freighter version with the main deck cargo door. All interiors for each model are included, as well as the fancy business jet interior, and of course if you want the VIP vehicles to drive up to the aircraft. Pending future free updates to the 737-700, there are some things still in development, such as a cockpit tablet, which will be added this summer. Also on the way are high-resolution cabins, landing gear bay interiors, and a weather radar. Okay, now for the bad bit. Now, for those of you who've watched this maybe weeks or months later, this is going to be mute because the community itself will fix this. PMDG just say you'll have to experiment with your hardware. That's their solution. Yeah, it's been very frustrating for me, probably more than likely because I've been trying to fix it so I can actually do the review, and I'm going to be late at the review now because I've been spent all my time troubleshooting. So these two things may help you because the solution seems to be different for everybody. So here's the first solution I have to fix your problems with your controls. Okay, it's quite late now. It's just after 12 o'clock on Saturday. Since release of the PMDG 737, there's been lots of errors that people have been having, and I've actually found it quite frustrating, to say the least. So the first flight was fine, the gear went up and down, and that was great, happy days. The second flight, the gear wouldn't go up, it would animate up, or it would animate down, but it was up, and vice versa, and weird things were happening. So here is the fix for most people, okay, as far as I can tell. So controls options. Go into your landing gear. Boom. So you see it goes up and gear down, right? But it wouldn't work. So for gear up, just make sure you have it on release. Now, I've just set it for on release and it's set back to on press. So on release, validate. It's gone again for some reason, validate. So there's bugs here and it should be on release, okay? Validate. And then save, apply and save, and go back and resume. So, okay, I was really delighted then, and it still wouldn't work. All the gear levers and the speed brakes and the flaps would animate properly, but it still didn't work. And I got even more frustrated and more angry. Now, I have to step back here and say, well, okay, it could be a Microsoft thing, it could be Honeycomb Bravo thing, or it could be a PMDG thing. They're not talking to each other, or we don't know, because we know it's very complicated to build this for the Flight Simulator 2020. But this was actually the fix for me in the end, and it just displays how complicated the PMDG is. So have a look at this. I may have done a thing, okay? Now, just to... Since I got PMDG, I flew my first circuit and the gear was working and the flaps were working and the speed brakes were working and it was a joy to fly and happy days. And then I started doing my review and the gear wouldn't come down. Weird things were happening with the gear. The flaps then wouldn't work when I started the aircraft. and the speed brakes wouldn't work, and I had to go in and configure my controls. You know, there was all sorts of ideas I had to fix it. No one really knew what to do. It worked for a while, and then it stopped working for me again, and that delayed me more, and I got even more angrier and very annoyed, and the review wasn't going to go well. And I hope this fixes it for you. I hope it'll fix it for a lot of you. Please let me know in the comments. So, right, I'm very frustrated. I'm very angry. So, what was happening was I would take off, I'd put up the gear with my Bravo, and the gear would activate in the sim as up, but the gear wouldn't go up. I put the gear down, and the gear wouldn't go up. Okay. Also, the flaps, you know, when I start here, I'd come in and the flaps wouldn't move. Now, the flaps are moving for me now, okay? So it's all back, it's working for me now, right? The speed brakes wouldn't work, so I'd activate them, but nothing would happen, right? But now, as you can see, the speed brakes, or should I say the lift dumpers, really, they're lift dumpers, they're working fine. There we go. So it's 12 o'clock, days later. I didn't ask for you. So how did I fix it? Okay. I hope this works for you. I went in and I went to, I just go to the main menu here where you start, right? So I went to PMDG setup. I went to aircraft. I went to failures. And oh, look, there's 3 active failures. What's that? By default, for some reason. Yeah, PMDG, Rob, whatever your name is. So this said to me, oh, hydraulics, that would be a logical thing in the sim. Now, I hail them for having all this stuff in, but this has been driving people mad, and we're not all experts. So how did I fix this? Clear All didn't do it for me, right? So I went back, and I went to all systems. No, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I did maintenance. And I said, next service 250 hours. So I said, service all, execute. Right. Then I went back, return, active none. I did find, however, that these errors did pop up again when I reloaded the sim, so I just had to go back into the FMC and fix it. Now, you could say I'm cutting off my nose to spite my face here because they won't send me review copies of their software. Well, that's fine, because I'm telling the truth. I have to tell the truth. What's the point of, if you don't tell the truth, what's the point of doing anything? So yeah, there you go. So look, this is going to be mute. It's going to go, it'll be fine in a couple of weeks. It'll be fixed, but it just shouldn't be released like that. I mean, it's not a me problem, is it? It's not a you problem either. It's a their problem. Really? $70? Come on, lads. But it's all down to this amazingly modelled study level 3D cockpit that allows you to really fly a 737 in your own home. The great news is, however, that PMDG have included the interactive checklist. This is great news for you newbies and for people like me, because I have to learn how to fly this again. And you just click on fuel panel, for example, it tells you where to look and it just highlights all the buttons. And all you have to do is look at a YouTube video to tell you how the fuel system works on the 737. Moreover, PMDG have gone to great lengths to produce tutorials on their YouTube site. So this is going to make learning how to fly this aircraft, certainly for me and any newbie, a lot easier. This is just fantastic news. And look, it's just so damn well done. In VR, of course, this is going to knock your socks off. It looks scaled very well. It's just absolutely VR. Yeah, it's look at. I have flown the Motion 737 commercial flight simulator from time to time in the past, and I can tell you that the weight and the momentum of the flying experience seems very authentic to me. Besides the wonderful graphics, the sound system seems to me to be second to none, and plainly a great deal of effort has been put in here. Failures, as you've seen before, are also included, as well as all sorts of other features. Too many to mention here are included in the flight management computer. I would imagine that is until the tablet arrives. There are more models to come, as well as the 800 and the 737 MAX. This approach here I'm doing is actually into Malta, and it's a real steep, crazy approach I made up just for, you know, fancy eye candy. Also, the Xbox version is yet to come. We don't know when yet. Also, it's not on the marketplace yet, in the Microsoft Marketplace, so you'll have to go to the PMG's website. There is a native PMDG data link compatible with SimBrief as well. There are many more features to this aircraft that I haven't mentioned here, but should you buy it or should you wait? Well, that depends if your curiosity allows.